welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I posted anything on here, but I have a whole new concept that I'm gonna do this year, and I think you guys would really like it. It's just gonna be all music. I'm already done covers on my channel, but I'm gonna go from covers to my favorite artists, album reviews and reaction videos and things like that. And I'm so mad because, you know what, recently I just missed out on Ariana Grande's song that she surprisingly just had a surprise song that she posted the other night, and it's kind of too late for me to do a reaction video for that. But if you're into any of that kind of stuff, that's what I'm going to be doing. So before we get into what I'm going to be talking about today, you can go ahead and subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter so you can keep updated about when I'm posting. So today, my first album review is gonna be of one of my favorite artists that most of anybody who knows me personally already knows, Taylor Swift. And that's because her anniversary of Reputation is coming up on a year. I wanna get into that while before her new album's gonna come out, which she's been dropping all these hints, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out next year. So I just wanted to go ahead and recap for this year before we get into next year, because I'm gonna be all over that. For Reputation, I really wish I would have done a reaction video to Look What You Made Me Do, because I was so excited for that music video to come out, and my jaw was literally on the floor like after it came out. Last year around this time, it had gotten all this popularity. It was really highly anticipated because she had been like radio silent for almost a year. She didn't even put out any music at all, and that's just so unlike her, because anybody who's a real Taylor Swift fan knows that she puts out an album every 2 years like clockwork, and she didn't do it last year. It was just a really horrible time for us. It was a good thing because she built up that anticipation, and actually I think it worked in her favor. Last year she finally put out Look What You Made Me Do, and all these people, like fans and non-fans, were just really interested because she had all these public fights with people. Like, she wasn't fighting with them, but they were antagonizing her and all this stuff. But I'm sure you've heard about Kanye and Calvin Harris and Katy Perry and all these people that you probably already know about. You probably don't, I don't know. She had all these public fights. People were wanting to know what her side of everything was. They were wanting to know what she thought about it, because she doesn't publicly speak on something, but she always writes about it in a song. So in the song Look What You Made Me Do and the video, people had been calling her a snake like the year before. They've been trolling her as a snake. If you don't know where that came from, it's because Kim Kardashian called her a snake and was like, when she released footage of Taylor on Snapchat, like apparently approving a part of a song, she had said that on National Snake Day, look, they have holidays for everyone, put snakes, and people trolled her Instagram. I saw it firsthand. People were trolling her Instagram, her Twitter, just any public account with snake emojis. So she was like, okay, I'm a snake. Then I'm gonna come back as a snake. I'll be a snake for all of y'all. And that was kind of like the theme for Reputation. Like, that was like her mascot, which I thought was genius and clever because nobody can use that against her anymore. That was kind of the tone for Look What You Made Me Do in the Reputation. She put up her first post and it was like a snake just coming toward the camera. And all in her Look What You Made Me Do video is just all these snakes, which I caught on to that. I tried to catch on to most of her hints, which is really hard to do because she just has so many. She drops all these hints in her songs, and now her videos and social media. It used to just be her songs, but now she's just gotten so famous and like has this big platform that it's all over everything. But there was also a lot of other little hidden things, little jabs and stuff at like Kim, Kanye, Katy Perry, Calvin Harris, and just the media, like how the media depicts her. In the video, when I was watching it, it just took me on like an emotional roller coaster. Like, I was so excited, and then I was like curious, like, wait, what is this about? And then I was like sad because she said the old Taylor was dead, and she was literally like killing off all her previous Taylors, all the people, you know, the Taylor that all these fans have loved. But then I was happy for her because she was like this new bad bitch Taylor, and I was like, okay. I went through a series of emotions, and that was kind of like set the tone for the album too. So then the album comes out about a month or two later, and it's kind of like the same feel. Like, I'm obviously always excited for any kind of Taylor Swift song or album, and so this started off really like in your face, just kind of like how Look What You Made Me Do was. It was like the first half of the album was really in your face, really aggressive, and it was just very unapologetic. She had songs like Are You Ready For It, which she's rapping on a couple of these songs in the first two, so I was here for that, like, because this was a new Taylor we hadn't seen before. She's always been like country and sweet, which I do like that side of her, but now she's just like a pop star, and I never thought, when I first listened to her in 2008, I never thought she'd be like how she is today. So it was really cool transition for me to see her blossom into this like really cool, you know, pop star before she was like just a good girl. So a couple of my favorite songs on the very first half of it is obviously Endgame. Like, I love that song. It was a hit too, and it had two of my other favorite artists on there, which was Future and Ed Sheeran. So I was so excited for the song to come out and the video. I really love I Did Something Bad because that song just, I love when the artist can make you feel something, feel what they're feeling, and I definitely felt like her anger and everything. I just love how she was just so unapologetic. It was kind of like a sorry, not sorry. In there, she sings a couple of lines. It's like, I did something bad, but why does it feel so good? Like, she's kind of like, oh, sorry, not sorry. And this was kind of just referencing a couple of things that the people were negatively talking to her about. You know, there's two sides to every story. We don't know the whole story. So she's like, okay, you guys want to make that negative reputation, negative depiction of me, but I'm not going to apologize for it because not all these people know the whole story. It was like, okay, they want to say I'm a snake. They want to say I'm this and that. I'm a liar, blah, blah, blah. She was just kind of like, all right, well, I did something bad, but why does it feel so good? Like, she still came up on top. So I like how she always turns like a negative into a positive. And she also did that with Don't Blame Me. That's also one of my other favorite songs on the album. And I love the line, don't blame me, love made me crazy. If it doesn't, you ain't doing it right. Because anybody who has been in love or feels like they've been in love knows how stupid and blind and crazy it can make you. And I feel like she really like depicted that. And also just she really talked about her reputation of love, of her image, of people always saying she's like this boy crazy player girl. You know, she's touched on it before in her other album in 1989, like she said briefly, like in Shake It Off, she said something about it. And then she had a whole ass song about it for Blank Space. But I like this one because it was, again, it was like sorry, not sorry, like and I like that attitude of it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Shake It Off and Blank Space, but I really like her attitude on this one. Don't Blame Me was just something that I feel like everybody can relate to because no matter, like I said, love just affects everybody kind of the same way, and it has no exception for somebody who is rich and famous. And then we get into like the transition after those really hard songs. It's kind of just like a transition. It's like, I like how she transitioned it from one dimension kind of to another dimension. So it's not just one dimensional, not all angry, all up in your face. She had, I feel like Delicate and Look What You Made Me Do are those. Like, they're slower. I mean, they still have the emotion in them, obviously, but like, it just kind of set the tone for the rest of the album. And so the rest of the album is also just a whole nother adventure. Like, she definitely showed a different side of herself. Finally, like, I feel like she's always been super personal, and she got even more personal, if that's possible. And she did a couple songs that were sexual. Like, she showed her sensual side. And she has never done that before. Like, she did it, again, like, touch base on it in 1989, but not, like, in Reputation. Like, in 1989, she had a line, like, in Wildest Dreams, and it was, his hands are in my hair, his clothes are in my room. That was about it. Like, she didn't go far. But in this one, I feel like she definitely went further. She had a song called Dress, and she was just like, only wore this dress so you could take it off. And she had a song called So It Goes, and she's just singing, I'm not a bad girl, but I do bad things with you. I feel like if it hadn't been for people who kind of shamed her reputation, maybe she might not have done this. I mean, she might have, because she is getting older, and like, it's kind of like, all right, you know, eventually you should talk about that, I guess. Like, it is part of your life if you want to. Also, I feel like if people hadn't made her to this like bad reputation, maybe she wouldn't have, because she always had this like good girl image before, and she never really went that deep into it before. But now that she, you know, people think she's a bad girl, or did think she's a bad girl, it's like, all right, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and talk about my sex life too. So I was proud of her that she did that. The second half had some genius songs, like just some of them that were talking about her relationships. Getaway Car was also genius. And she also had a couple of other really good songs on the latter half. I mean, I think all of them are great, obviously. But a couple of my favorites are Getaway Car, because she uses her past relationship, like kind of like a rebound relationship, and just refers as it to like a getaway car. Like the metaphor, the song is just like a metaphor in itself. It's a getaway car, and I thought that was amazing. And I thought she had some really good lines in there, especially when she talks about leaving the relationship. She sings, took the money in the bag and I stole the keys. That was the last time you ever saw me. And I thought that was just genius. Like, who thinks of like talking about their relationship and making it just a whole theme and making it a whole different metaphor? If you haven't listened to that song, I say check it out. I'm gonna talk about a couple songs she hasn't put on the radio. So another song I really love is "This Is Why You Can't Have Nice Things," and it's a standout because just the melody, the beat, everything is just standout. The lyrics, all of that. It's also just a favorite. I've heard a lot of people who've listened to the album like say that that was one of their favorite songs. And in it, she kind of just slays Kanye West. I'm thinking she's talking about, which I'm like 99.9% positive it's about him. She just slays her whole relationship. She talks about her relationship with him, kind of like from beginning to end, and also just about why she went out of the public eye and just like her reputation and all these people trolling her. Like she was like kind of how she was on top of the world was because she was. In 2014 you couldn't see enough of her. Like she was just everywhere, and like her girl squad was everywhere. And she's kind of like talking about how all of that changed, and now she's just private. She doesn't really post as much. She doesn't, you don't really know much of her personal life anymore. Not like doing public interviews. She like just totally went Beyonce on us. Even with this whole album, she didn't even really do much press for it. She just released it, which is sad for like fans like me who are obsessed with her. But I respect it at the same time. And she's just talking about, this is why we can't have nice things, because these people came from me. And I thought she had some genius lines in that. And she's talking about how she and Kanye had made up, then they fell apart again. And she's talking about how she took an axe to a mended fence, which I thought was a great metaphor to their relationship. So I mean, it sucks for people who are obsessed with her like me, but at the same time I do respect it. So I was like, okay. And she's talking about, dang, this is what I used to do. I used to have all these parties and blah blah. This is why we can't have nice things. And I think one of the most genius lines in the whole song is when she's talking about her relationship with Kanye West, because they fell out and then they even made up and then they fell out again. She sings, and this is why I took an axe to a mended fence. And I'm like, how did she come up with that? I wish I had the chops that she did to songwrite. But the song is so necessary, because even though it is all up in your face and it sounds like something that should be on the first half that's all up in your face, it still is a good transition. Just from what Taylor Swift has said in an interview, she said that her whole album reputation is finding love throughout the noise. And I feel like this song was kind of representative of the noise, of all the drama she went through and everything, before she got to this peace of mind, to this peaceful place that she's in now. And that's kind of like how it is on the album. Like her albums tell a story. So it really told the story well, because after that are the two songs that are probably the most mellow and the most like she sounds the most peaceful and the most happy about. And I think that was really good planning on her part, like to have it right before those two songs. And the two songs I'm talking about are Call It What You Want To and New Year's Day. And Call It What You Want To is just like a modern day love song. It's one of my favorites. New Year's Day is genius because she's talking about sticking with somebody throughout the good times and the bad times. And in it, she sings, I'll be there when you're the toast of the town, babe, or when you strike out and you're crawling home. She sings like little metaphors like that throughout the whole song. I think that's also a standout on the record, and it's also more of an acoustic song. It's not like all the other ones. And honorable mention, one of my favorite songs on there is Dancing With Our Hands Tied. And I have no idea. This one is like a mystery to me, because I have no idea what it's about. I don't think anybody knows who's this about, because I've tried to do my research on this one, and nobody like knows who she's talking about. Maybe she just made it out of her imagination. I don't know, but it's a beautiful song, and if you haven't heard that one, I definitely say you should listen to that one too. So if you have heard the album, I know it's been a year. It's been a whole year for you to listen to it. So if you have listened to the album, comment down below your favorite songs off of there. Tell me if you agree with any of the songs that are my favorite, or if you disagree, why do you disagree? And also, I think her next album is gonna come out in 2019. She's been dropping all these clues like in typical Taylor Swift fashions. If you think you know what the next album is gonna be about, also comment down below. I'm really excited, and I'm gonna be all over that whenever the videos drop, whenever the first single drops, all of that. So just stay tuned with me. And that concludes my first album review. I hope y'all enjoyed it. This is gonna be probably different than another artist's review, because each artist is different. I went into Taylor Swift's personal life more for this one, because that is her art. Like, she bases her songs off of personal experiences. I mean, the next one might be a little bit different, But stay tuned with me. Tell me what you think in the comments down below, also about what you think her next album is going to be about. I'm super excited because I really think that it's going to be next year that she drops one. I think she's going to go back to that every 2-year thing that she usually does. And she's just been dropping hints like in her typical Taylor Swift fashion. I love talking about music. I love talking about this with y'all. I will see y'all later. Thanks.